when you lost your virginity to a hot young blonde at some hotel room in Orange County.
Hey guys, this is Gus G and you're watching Guitar Gear Guy. Thank you for tuning in.
Hello everyone, how are you? This is yours truly, Triple G. And by now you're probably wondering what my introduction little teaser has anything to do with my guitar collection and the new series of videos I'm going to put out. But rest assured, I will circle back to that. Anyhow, so I grew up really dirt poor, right? My father basically ran away to the States, to America, after he bankrupted his company, and debtors and people that loaned him money, people that invested in him, so basically he came to America running away from all that. Something he's probably was not proud of. But basically he came to America, tried to look for ways to make a living for the family to, make a living. And rest of us, which was my mother, myself, and my sister, we stayed back in Korea while my father was looking for ways out here in Los Angeles. And, so basically we were really poor. Three of us basically we rented and leased the basements, maybe 10 by 10, 12 by 12 for 3 people. So it was pretty rough. And in South Korea, especially during summertime, you get a lot of flash floods. And, being basement, the places would get flooded all the time. And, a lot of things got ruined. And that's one of the reasons why I don't have any photographs from my youth, because they got all wet. So maybe a few years before I had come to the States, maybe I was 14 or 15 or so, one of my cousins got a Samick Acoustic Dreadnought. It was about $30, I remember, equivalent of Korean currency. And, like I said earlier, my family was so poor, I couldn't get one. And I remember being hella jealous and very envious and what have you. And I must have worn all that on my sleeve, because I must have looked pretty upset and sad. One of my other aunt decided to gift me with the exact same Samick acoustic guitar. So I really enjoyed having a guitar. So at the time, I also had a job. I had a paper route, and I was bringing in some sorry ass money. And what I did was I saved it up for a few months and then decided to go get guitar lessons from this music store where they sold tapes, cassettes, and vinyls back then. I don't remember if CDs were a thing. Anyhow, so I decided to go get some lessons, and it involved some finger arpeggios and cowboy chords and stuff like that. But where the guitar lessons were held, the owner of the music store, he was illegally importing vinyl records in from Japan, because Korea was such a conservative country back then. Anything that is pornography related or pornographic, even in covers, or vulgar, violence inducing type of cover art, even on albums, strictly prohibited. But this is when I got to appreciate and was exposed to things like Overkill, Megadeth, Kill 'Em All album with that cover, and Garage Days. So here I was, I'm enjoying hard rock and metal, but I didn't know anything back then. I was a young kid, and I just couldn't figure out why my Samick Acoustic did not sound anything like the rhythm track of the song Coming Home from Scorpions' Love at First Bite album. So I had finally come to the States when I was about 16, and I had begged my father to get me an acoustic guitar, because I left one, the gift that I received from my aunt, I left it back in Korea. because I couldn't bring it here. So I begged and pleaded, but he basically said, you're here to be excellent in your academic career, to build a foundation for your life, and you do not need a guitar. Typical Asian parent. So I was super unhappy, but one of my uncles who was visiting was heavily into Pink Floyd, and he convinced my father to let the boy go ahead and get a guitar. So luck would have it, my father caved in and got me a Yamaha FC310 acoustic guitar, which I enjoyed a whole heck of a lot. Eventually, I would hang with a bunch of kids at high school, and I put together some money by working at a restaurant while I was going to high school. And I used that money to go get me a used Westone Pantera X275 guitar. It's amazing that I even remember that. And then but it had a floating trem, and I couldn't keep it in tune because I was stupid, young and stupid. Actually, I can't keep guitars in tune now. I traded in for another used, no, the BC Rich was not used. That was a BC Rich Warlock Bronze series, so it's the cheap model. But back, I'm 80s child, and all that pointy attributes of the Warlock really tugged on me. So I got that, and then over the course of the time I got something like Hamer Standard, which is the Explorer shape, and I also remember picking up a Jackson Soloist for about a week until I returned it. And I also picked up a Gibson Gothic Explorer, which I no longer have, unfortunately. I remember selling that also maybe about a year after. I understand that Gothic Explorer is worth quite a bit right now. Anyhow, so I settled into my career IT, and had started to have my family of my own, and sort of gradually got distance from anything to do with guitars. Now, you would all agree, music stays with you. So, the songs that your mother played on her record player while preparing dinner, you get taken back to that moment if you hear that same song. You also remember type of songs your father may have been listening to while he was working in his garage, and you were a little young child and you're hanging out with your father. And if you hear those songs today, you remember. You also remember any sort of songs that may have been playing in the background when you lost your virginity to a hot young blonde at some hotel room in Orange County. And just as that, those songs and the music, you admire the guitars that played those songs, and maybe the artists and the guitar players that inspired you along the way, and you develop connection, right? And me personally, I would be, over the course of the years, I would be inspired by like Tipton and Downing, Murray and Smith, Hammett and Hetfield, and Randy Rhoads, John Sykes, Joe Bonamassa recent years. So fast forward to today, my guitar collection currently probably somewhere north of 50 guitars, somewhere south of 80 guitars. I lost count. And guitars come and go as I sell some and then buy one, whatever. So I lost a number. But this is precisely why I am going to be doing this series. As most of you have seen, I should probably play and practice more than continue to acquire new guitars. But I don't drug, I don't drink, I don't smoke. All my disposable income goes to acquiring guitars because I feel connected, and the music from the childhood and everything else. So disposable income goes to the guitars and bikes. Now, while I can play guitar to save my life, bikes, I do, I could smoke some fools out on the road any time of the day, but my guitar playing probably, safe to say, bottom 5%. So I don't let my inability to play well stop me, because guitars play a role in my life where they bridge to moments in my life that I want to cherish and remember back. So some of my guitars are cheap, some are expensive. I don't have any sort of a collector guitars like the 52 Tellys or 59 Les Pauls or 62 SGs, you know, anything like that. But each guitar that I currently own, they all represent something that I aspire to be, something that I enjoyed. Back when I was in high school, I remember seeing ads for Gibson Les Pauls. And I remember thinking, how could anybody afford these things when these things are so expensive? But, you know, now I'm 50, I have a career, and, you know, I'm not filthy rich, but I am comfortable, and I could afford a Les Paul Standard if I wanted to. And I actually do own some Gibson Les Paul Standards. Anyhow, so, you know, through the process of acquiring these guitars, and I play them every now and then, it makes me appreciate sort of how I ended up today, and lo and behold, that's why my collection is the way it is. So why the boring old story? As Joe Bonamassa said about his collection, you know, he says he's custodian until the next person comes along for the guitars that he owns, and I somewhat feel the same way. While I'm alive, I don't think I would have the courage to be able to sell these guitars. So, you know, when I'm dead and gone, my family could sell these guitars for whatever, and I wouldn't have any emotional problems because I would be already dead. And, you know, 50 years right now, you may be 20-year-old guy, and 30 years from today, I would be dead and gone, but you would be 50 years old yourself, and maybe you're the one who bought my Wood Library PRS Custom 24, who knows? So I also took this opportunity to document and inventory my guitars, you know, privately, as well as there's a new feature on Reverb called My Collection. So I've been putting my all my stuff information in there to get, you know, current value and kind of a personal library of all the crap that I have. And also the documenting process involves where I'm putting down what I paid, what I think it's going to be worth, and stuff like that. So my wife doesn't sell my $5,000 PRS as a $600 guitar because, you know, that's what I told her how much it cost. Through the process of documenting my guitars, I also found out some of the stuff that I own actually went up quite a bit in value, and I'll share those with you as I come to those guitars when I go through this. So I'm sure you've seen them by now. YouTube has this new thing called shorts. So they're about a minute or less, and they are normally vertical format so that you could have these bite-sized videos that you can watch on your phones. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to feature one guitar per episode, which is again a minute or less. And if you are familiar with my stuff, you know how talkative I get, and even this video I'm just talking my head off. So one video per day, every other day, based on number of my guitars. That's gonna take like a 4 to 6 months even then. So I'll show you everything that I have, and it's kind of a self-serving as far as why I'm doing this, but also at the same time I want to show you some new stuff that I've gotten since my last collection video that I made some bunch of years ago, because the collection constantly evolves, and also opportunity to throw up some fresh content on a regular basis so that you and I can chit chat via the comment section. So, you know, even then the collection constantly evolves. Like I said, if I could get an opportunity, I would love to get a Westone Pantera X275 again, because, you know, it means something to me as my first electric guitar that I bought. I also would like to eventually end up with the BC Rich Warlock at some point again, because that's sort of was my guitar in high school. And I would love to get a Rich Faulkner flavor of guitar, as well as my dream guitar. I don't have a dream guitar despite having all these guitars in my possession, some expensive, some cheap. One that I really want is a Hamer signature of Glenn Tipton of Judas Priest. That is not commercially available. You know, that's just custom made for him, so I can't get one. But that is a dream guitar of mine. Also, would love to get some kind of a Tom Murphy aged reissue or historic of '59 Les Paul. Would love to get a private stock from PRS, to name a few. So those things I'm still striving to get my hands on, if at all possible. All right, so enough of talking. Thank you for sticking around with a video where there's like nothing being played. I'm not showing you anything, but I wanted to explain you the upcoming series of videos that I'm gonna put out. So starting tomorrow, you will see a video every other day, every 48 hours with one guitar each day. And of course, in between, I'll also have some gear chat videos for the stuff that I go a little bit more in depth with, some of the things that you may have not seen already. All right, that's it for today. I've been Triple G. You've been awesome. Thank you for your time, and I will see you next episode. I'm out.